journey may have been different than ours. So their world, their reality has not been the same as ours because they created something different.
Exactly. And we can be sitting in the same, what we think is the same reality together and still perceiving it completely different. Just like the two ladies that had the same job, that had the same workload, that had all the same basic day, but yet they had two completely different experiences from the same, having the same environment. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Just like this can I'm holding. When you look at it, what do you notice? Just your general impression. What's your perception of this can?
And it has fruit on it.
Well, see, when I looked at it, I was looking at, oh, well, it's hydrating. It's got some of my favorite colors. Yeah, there's some berries on it. And, so I'm looking at all the different things. And then I start looking at the design of it. So I went really into it. And I did all of that in like 2 seconds while I was looking at the can. These were my perceptions of this one can. And see, the difference was it's the same can. You look at it and you're like, yeah, there's some berries on it. Yeah. I looked at it and I went all into I went almost into the how it's made of, of it.
Just the conception of the can.
The conception of the can, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, it's part of the design team.
Exactly. But see, that's literally the difference in how we may perceive something in reality, what we call reality, because because this is slowed down enough with us to be and to feel tangible, to be consumable, to have a physical existence with us. But even in that, it's the same can, and we both just had two completely different perceptions of that moment, of that one moment that we shared. We had two completely different experiences in it.
Exactly, and I created my reality.
It's like, you're showing me a can, and
exactly
where I was actually really into the can. I allowed myself, because it's just a can, but as I held it up, I allowed myself to really partake in the vision of what I was looking at. To enjoy. Just taking a moment to look at this can. What can I get from this can?
I'm thinking you liked that can when you bought it.
You know what? I liked it because it was blueberry and purple is my color.
There you go. Right.
So in some ways, you're right. You're right.
You were drawn to it.
I was drawn to it because it's my flavor and my color. Exactly. But and there again is another part of my reality, But when it comes to literally changing our physical presence in things, whether it's changing our body, whether it's changing our environment, whether it's changing our ways and means of income, understanding that income is really the last thing we should be focused on instead of the first thing. We've got this all backwards. When we understand that the reality of it is that if we focus on certain things in our abundance, and if we align ourselves with all the abundance that's already out there that we've asked for and set up for the universe to literally drop in our laps, then we can have the easiest reality. We can be the most you don't even have to work and things just constantly fall in your lap. Or what you are doing that other people would see as work, you don't see it as work because you love it so much that you just do it anyway. And then look, you're doing all of this, and it's all of these things are just, and then you allow things, unexpected things. We are so ingrained in only thinking that we have one resource.
That's right.
And it's trading our happiness for dollars.
That's right. People don't open up and allow others to bless them when they're wanting to get to bless.
Receiving.
Yes.
Exactly.
You have to, most of us are geared toward, we're very good at giving, but when it comes to receiving, maybe we're not so good.
Perceptions of being unworthy. Why are we unworthy to receive if we're so unworthy to receive, then aren't we also unworthy to give?
That's exactly how I feel.
And if we feel unworthy to give, then what are we doing? The whole purpose is to be in service to each other. But if we're not taking care of ourselves and feeling worthy within ourselves, then we're not allowing ourselves to be truly worthy of anything else. And it's not because we're not worthy, it's because our perception doesn't allow us to appreciate that worthiness and really benefit from it. We are ingrained from almost the moment we take a breath to not feel worthy. And that is the biggest lie that this planet has perpetuated, in especially through the American culture.
Our race, our humanity. I mean, we probably hear the word no more times during our formative years than any other time in our life. But it does become something that we just align ourselves with. And I believe it starts during our formative years when we're told no, 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 no.
Well, and you can see the difference in like these tribes and different outside of major society circles. They are very in tune spiritually. You know, they have gifts and abilities to communicate with each other in ways that we can barely even understand.
Oh, exactly.
They have a communion with the source, with divinity, in ways that we don't even allow, and their reality is very different from ours.
Well, of course, and they understand. They know what they understand is real, and that makes a big difference, because a lot of people don't really know if what their core belief system, they don't really know if this is real or not. Because I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, well, I'm doing this just in case there is a hell, you know, or just in case there is a heaven, I'm going to try to cover my bases. And I'm like, and you don't even know what your core belief system is.
Exactly, because so many people don't really have their own belief system. They have adopted belief systems. They have, you know, like this, well, this is what my family grew up saying, so this has got to be what's right. And no, it doesn't. No. If it doesn't ring true, if everything about it doesn't ring true to you, then it's simply not necessarily true. And if it doesn't make you have a feeling of joy, of love, of gratitude, of appreciation, of happiness, then it's not in alignment with your higher source. It's not in alignment with God if it makes you feel anything different. And that's where I've been really excited to recently find some groups where I was telling you it was really awesome to see a whole different calibration of people in a very unexpected setting, you know, where it was all about the love, peace, joy, happiness, you know, the elation of each other, the uplifting of each other, the celebration of each other, and all of our uniquenesses.
And that's a wonderful group to be in, too.
Absolutely.
I am all for being in a collective of positive energy anytime, any place that I can be there.
And if we're going to create a reality of any kind, why create it from any other place? How many of us, and I know that for a long time it was my practice, which is why I've been changing my practice.
Good for you.
But my practice was to really focus on all the things I didn't want, all the things I didn't have, all the things I wished I had done differently, all the things I wanted to be and wasn't, all the things, you know, all of these different, everything was all rooted in all of these feelings of unworthiness and insignificance and being less than something else, or not being good enough, you know, again, unworthy in some way.
And the crazy thing about that, Samantha, is the only thing that will change this is changing your perception
and your judgment.
Exactly. I mean, those are the only two things that will change this and turn those negatives into positives.
Absolutely. And understanding my value in a whole new way, accepting who I truly am in so many ways. And I'm like, what do people mean when they say really accepting who I truly am? And now I get it.
Oh, yeah.
Now I get it in a way I never did before.
Yeah.
I love my life, my incarnation, my body, my existence in a way I have never in millennia of lifetimes.
You have to, if you don't embrace who you are, there's not a whole lot of chance you're going to truly embrace a lot of other things. I mean, you may enjoy and find appreciation for things, but when you truly embrace yourself and know that you are who you are meant to be, and then you can find a much better peace and tranquility and happiness. And that's my experience anyway.
Absolutely. And in that perception of perfection of the self and the perception, see, I got this the other day. I got this understanding. I actually was open to this whole new love and appreciation for myself a few weeks ago that has been life-changing, absolutely life-changing. But recently I was kind of having a conversation with someone that is very special to me, but it got me thinking about some things because it is a difference in mentality. There are a lot of different things that we consider to be horrible and, or unacceptable, and many things are unacceptable in the eyes of enlightenment, but at the same time, there's an understanding that there's an experience that we're all here for, be it negative or positive. It's our place and our purpose. And if it's not our place or our purpose, who are we to say anything about it? So that's where releasing the judgment comes in. I can't judge your experience. I can't judge anyone else's experience. I can't even judge my own experience. I can perceive it, and I can determine or decipher or discern things in it. But the moment I start to judge it, I place negative connotations on it. I start criticizing the work of my Creator the moment I start to place judgment on myself and other people. And I realize that I have no right and no place to criticize the work of my Creator by placing judgments on anything, including myself.
I couldn't have said that better, Samantha. I think the world would be a much better place if there were less judgment all the way around.
There would be much less of the other negative, lower vibrational actions and reactions, and people in general would wake up in a different place every day. The more we elevate together, and that ultimately is our goal. Is creating the reality of a unified vibration that creates a harmony and a peace and a connection of love.
Yes.
For every individual.
And every individual as an individual and as part of the collective.
Exactly. I
mean, each goes hand in hand with the other. I just think that's the way it is.
Exactly. And in doing that, we have to stop perceiving people as having something wrong with them. Whatever it is, there's nothing wrong with that person. They're exactly where they're supposed to be in that moment.
Well, of course. Everyone is. I mean, we're all here. We all are. I mean, some of us are in better places, seemingly better places than others. But when it comes down to it, we're all learning lessons,
And there again, that's a perception. That's your perception of where you think your life would be if you have what you see. But you don't see everything. You just know what they allow you to see or what you happen upon. But in truth, we don't know what's going on with other people if we're not connected enough for those other people to really be sharing with us what's going on.
Well, I'll say this. I studied the psychology of sales for many years. I was a salesperson for many years. And, I mean, I learned a lot I had to learn a lot about this very subject and came to appreciate it. So...
Well, let's take a look at what we've learned today about perceptions and judgments and how that shapes our reality. If we, number one, allow, and that means allow ourselves to let go of so many things, allow ourselves to receive so many things, allow others to be as they are. All of this allowing opens up a door to a shift in a vibrational